Hey, what's up, my Dragon Legion? How y'all been? So there, Dragoons. Today, since I just got done doing a channel update video for CardFight Vanguard, I figured now I take my perfect opportunity to do a deck update video of my current Dragonic Overlord, the Kagero deck profile. As I mentioned in my channel update video, I have made some weird changes to the deck, where the deck is kind of a little bit more defensive at a one-point angle. If you Dragoons are subscribed to my buddy Zeldin on his channel, The Magician Master 100, or a channel that he and I share together, Music 1 Master 100, aka the Trading Card Bros, I pretty much already show the deck profile to on both of those channels. So if you Dragoons have already saw the deck profile on those channels, you might as well click back. But for those who want to stick around and check this deck profile, okay, cool, that's awesome. So the deck is a little bit different. It's still aggressive. It still gets in there pretty good. But what this deck does is it kind of goes after the rear guards more than the Vanguard. And then when that happens, not only the opponent can't limit break off that easily, but they won't have that many cards to fight against your cards that much. So the deck goes off pretty well. And once the deck once I realize that my opponent doesn't have that many stuff going on against me, I just go ham and just go right straight after the Vanguard crazily. So with that being said, let's get right straight to the deck profile right now, shall we, Dragoons? Alright, start off with the starting Vanguard. As usual, one Lizard Soldier Conroe. Now, Conroe is Conroe. Counterblast, your idea of Vanguard, Forerunner, right Kagero type of him, move into a separate rearguard circle. Counterblast 1, retire him, search any grade 1 Kagero from deck to your hand. Now, in the OCG, I think he's currently banned right now in the OCG, and I don't think he's banned in the TCG yet. But if he does get banned in TCG, worst case scenario, just replace him with the Red Pulse Draco Kid. And that deck should be just fine right there, and I think right there. So until then, just keep using Conroe. Until then, just keep using Conroe, and we should be just fine. But if Conroe does get banned, just use Red Pulse Draco Kid. We should be just fine. And for the trigger lineup, here's where things get normally weird, Dragoons. Now, if you Dragoons have been watching my channel for quite some... not my channel, I apologize. If you Dragoons have been watching this channel for CardFight Vanguard since the beginning, you Dragoons know I have a consistency of doing 8 critical, 4 draw, or 6 critical, 6 draw. But I'm doing things a little bit different that not too many people will expect. Now, first of all, let's get this out of the way real quick. I'm playing 4 heal triggers because it's heal triggers. Can't really argue with heal triggers. I don't know why I have to explain there. And here's the weird part I was talking about. Now, instead of playing 6 critical, 6 draw, or 8 critical, 4 draw, I'm pretty much doing kind of a little bit of a basic style. I'm actually doing 4 critical, 4 draw, and 4 stands right here. Now, a lot of people may be a little bit curious why I'm doing this right here. Now, as I said, the deck is kind of going back a little bit defensive, so it has to resort to going to basic styles of trigger lineups in order to balance out the defense a little bit more. So by playing this a little bit more, by playing this, I'll be able to use the stand triggers to stay on my rear guards I've already attacked. And then I can just have the rear guards to go after my opponent's rear guards, and then they'll have that many less resources go on, all that crazy good such. And plus by playing this over what I normally play, I have more 10,000 shields and 5,000 shields, so it'll be easier to guard all my opponent's attacks, all that crazy good such. And what I like about playing Salamander is that if I end up boosting him, if I end up using him to boost another Kagero, and the attack is a hit, not only I can kill one of my opponent's grade 0s if they have a grade 0, but I can immediately put them back in the deck and potentially have a 5th stand trigger out of nowhere. Not that you're allowed more than 4 stands, but the option of having a 5th stand trigger when you're only playing 4 is very fantastic. So I can plus a free minus out of your opponent, which is very fantastic in my opinion. So this kind of balances out a little bit. 4-4-4, which is pretty much the way I like to go right now at the moment. So that's what I got going on with the trigger lineup. For the grade 1 lineup, I'm doing the 4 bars because it's bar. This is just straight up regular Kagero, so you kind of have to play 4 bars. I've seen some people in their deck profiles play less than 4 bars, which is actually kind of understandable because we do have Conroe, at least we still have at the moment. But well, this is pretty good right here. I like playing 4 bars because I do like the possibility of having bar as an ideal booster for one of my guys on crazy good such. So bar is just fine with me at 4 in my opinion. And then the 4 perfect guards because they're your perfect guards, so why not at 4? And then 4 Dragon Monk Gojos. You can use them for either a decent booster, or you can use his ability, rest them to pitch a card, draw a card, which is always very, very fantastic. Now, I've seen some people in their Kagero builds, they've cut out 2 monks to play that 2 copies of that 1 Steel Dragon guy, where you just call him and then you pitch a card, draw a card, you unrest him and all that such, but you only get his effect only once when you call him, that's it. Which is actually a pretty good idea. I'm not sure I'll try that idea or not yet, but I gotta pick him up first before I can actually start trying that idea as well. And to finish out the Grade 1 lineup is 2 Flame of Hope ammo. Ammo's pretty good right here. He's pretty much better than Dragon Monk Gojo, but worse than Dragon Monk Gojo at the same time. Unlike Dragon Monk Gojo, you can't boost and use his effect all at once at the same time unless you end up getting lucky and top deck stand trigger when you're doing your attacks or whatever such. Whereas Flame of Ammo, you can do that. You can boost. You can have him boost your front row guys, but then if his attack is a hit, you can pitch a card, draw a card all at once. But there is a few problems with him. First of all, his power is a little bit lower, which actually does make a few differences, meaning that your attack is not always going to be a hit. And second, if his attack is not a hit, you're not going to be able to use his ability to pitch a card, draw a card, which kind of does stink, but which is stuff that you got to keep in mind when you're playing ammo. Now, I've seen some people play 2 copies of that 1 Salamander guy that has the ability that says when he's boosting a Kagero, if the attack is a hit, you can put him back in your deck and retire a grade 1 rear guard, which is pretty good right there. I'll try him out when I pick him up, see what happens. I'm not sure if it's worth replacing ammo for him or not. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to do some things, see what happens. And so yeah, so that right there was the grade 1 lineup. Now for the grade 2 lineup. Now this is where things get a little bit weird from here. Alright, first off for the grade 2 lineups, I'm playing 4 copies of Burning Horn Dragon. Now Burning Horn Dragon is very fantastic. Your ideal Vanguard, as long as he's a grade 3, is always going to be Overlord. So this guy will get his 3000 boost. So when you get him on the board while being boosted by bar, this guy just gets in there so hard, so well. Now, if this was straight up DOTE, he is, in my opinion, worth playing at 4. But if you were to play Dauntless DOTE, like take out all your Dragon Overlords and play max copies of Dragon Overlord or Dauntless Drive Dragons instead, I would consider taking out at least 2 of him and play only 2 Burning Horn Dragons, just because of the possibility that, keep in mind, you are playing Dauntless and Overlord, so you're not always going to be able to get the 3000 out of the Burning Horn Dragon, because you're not going to be able to perform the Break Ride on top of Dauntless Drive Dragon, which are going to Overlord at the end. So when that happens, you will not always get the 3000 boost out of him. So when I do end up getting Dauntless Drive Dragon and make this deck into a Dauntless Drive Dragon deck, I will definitely cut 2 of these guys out for only 2 Burning Horn Dragons, all that crazy good such. And next we have is, here's something that's kind of weird. I'm playing 4 Berserk Dragons. Now, in most Kagero decks, you technically only really need 2 Berserk Dragons, which I can really highly understand. The reason why I'm playing max out of Berserk Dragons is because of multiple reasons. You're not always going to be able to perform the Persona Blast, no matter what kind of DOTE deck you're playing. So now and then you will have options to go off with the Counter Blast of Berserk Dragon, which is always pretty good. And as I said, this deck is kind of defensive, but this deck kind of turns your perfect defense into perfect offense. Like, you use Berserk Dragon's skill to retire opponents' rear guards, and then just go after the rear guards even more, so you can have an easier time to do what you're trying to do with this deck right here, and just kill your opponent's resources, and just go off with some huge crazy things on there. So if you want to play less than if you want to play less than 4 Berserk Dragons, that's fine. I currently like 4 Berserk Dragons right now at the moment. Now, maybe when I play Dauntless Drive, I'll play 3 or 2 Berserk Dragons. I'm not sure yet. I'll just have to see what comes up. And next, to finish off the grade 2 lineup, is 3 Bellocosti Dragons. Bellocosti Dragon is pretty good right here because you are going to be counterblasting a lot with Berserk Dragons. With Berserk Dragons, you're going to be counterblasting at least once with Conroe, and you may end up counterblasting at least once with the Persona Blast. By playing 3 Bellicosity Dragons, I'll have the potential ability to land in my attacks with him, so when his attacks lands in, I can put a card face down, my damage face up, so I can do more counterblast abilities and go off with some huge crazy things. And also another good thing about Bellicosity Dragon is that a lot of people will not want you to get that effect of getting one of your face down cards and your damage go face up. So what they'll do is every now and then they'll go crazy and block off this guy's attack while he's in attack. And when that happens, your DOTE can go crazy and just wreck your opponent's day right there, because they'll be wasting their resources on your Bellicosity, and while not realizing it, your DOTE is just gonna go in there and just wreck your opponent's day. So that right there was the grade 2 lineup, and of course, what kind of Vanguard deck would it be without the grade 3s? For the grade 3 lineup, I'm playing 4 copies of Draconic Overlords. Now, this is not Dauntless Drive. This is not Dauntless DOTE, so obviously there's no Dauntless DOTE. So until you get your hands on Dauntless DOTE, you play Draconic Overlord instead. Now, Draconic Overlord, yes, he's mostly there as a decent rear guard in case while you have a good Vanguard going on. But at the same time, he is mostly there for the possibility for you to perform your cross ride, because it's very important that you do the cross ride with the deck. If you can't do the cross ride, it's not the end of the world. But it does help this deck a lot when you can perform a cross ride. When you perform a cross ride by riding Overlord DN on top of your regular Overlord, your DOTE will have 1300 power, which not only makes it easier for you to land your attacks, but also makes it easier for you to defend off your opponent when you try to guard off your opponent's attacks, all that crazy good such. And every now and then, the ability where he can attack more than once, as long as you counterblast 3 cards, is always pretty good. It's always a good resource to have in case something goes wrong. So Draconic Overlord is not a straight up bad card. Just not like the best right now for obvious reasons compared to what's going on to the rest of this format and all that crazy good stuff. Overlord, but I'm still gonna play Overlord no matter what, unless I'm playing straight up Dauntless DOTE, though whatever such. So 4 Overlords is pretty good. And then to finish off the entire deck profile, your ideal key card of the entire deck is of course 4 copies of Draconic Overlord DN. Your ideal win condition card. For those who do not know him, he has... Alright, there we go. For those who do not know him, he has the following facts. If you have a non-Kagero Vanguard or Rear Guard, this unit gets minus 2000 power. If you have a card named Draconic Overlord in this unit's soul, this unit gets plus 2000 power. And his ability is when his unit's attack... His final ability is counterblast 2 cards and choose a card named Draconic Overlord at the end from hand and discard it. When his unit's attack is a hit, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand his unit back up, which is short for Persona Blast right there. Now, what this deck is all about is obviously using DOTE's ability to stand him back up as much as possible to go in for the kill right here. Now, what I like to do with this deck here now and then is, say I perform a cross ride, what I would do now with this deck right here is have him being boosted like something like Bar, for example, make it like 21 power total, have 21 power, go after the rear guard that has like 10,000 less power, and then go through the Twin Drive check. If I get any criticals, I'll give the critical to him, and then 5,000 to like another unit in particular, whatever such, or whatever else happens depending on what goes on in the drive check. And then I'll stand, and then after I kill the rear guard, I'll do the Persona Blast, stand right back up, have him go after the Vanguard, and then my opponent will waste some resources just to guard off the attack. And then depending on what I get out of the drive check, I can either land the attack perfectly, or I can make my opponent waste some serious resources and have the rest of my rear guards go for game. Or if I don't win right there, by having the 1300 power and by getting what I got out of the double twin drives, I can potentially have some cards to defend off my opponent's attacks, and they won't have that many cards to attack me due to me killing their rear guards or that such. And even if they do, if that does happen, if I survive the next turn, they won't have that many cards to have in their hand, and I can just have DOTE and the rest of my Kageros just go in for game, all that crazy good such. So that right there, Dragoons, was my DOTE Kagero deck profile. Hope you Dragoons enjoy this deck profile. Let me know what you Dragoons think about this deck profile in the comment section down below. And I'll see you Dragoons around. Hope you Dragoons enjoy this video. Leave a like and a favorite if you did. And subscribe today to become part of the Dragon Legion Alliance. And I'll see you Dragoons another day. Christian Dragoon, signing out. Peace.